Okay, so let's be clear. When you're applying for roles as a graphic designer, the most important thing is your portfolio. But if you're applying in the traditional sense, you're going to have a good looking resume too. Sometimes having a good looking resume can be the difference between someone even looking at your portfolio and going forward with your application and someone just tossing your application out entirely. Today, we're going to be going over the resume that got me hired as a graphic designer. Hi, my name is Victoria, and as you can probably tell, I'm a designer, and I currently work for a small marketing agency where I got my current role about 3 months post-grad. And before I took on this role, I was interviewing a ton with this resume with a bunch of different companies and making it very far in the processes. I share this not because I want to brag, but because I know my resume works, and I'm going to share with you why I think it works and why it's effective. Given my own experience and where I'm at, this video is mainly going to be targeted towards new grads, people just entering the creative and design field, or anyone who's trying to make a career shift into design. If you don't have a ton of experience overall or specifically within the creative industry, this video is going to be for you. I do also want to note that in addition to the resume I'm going to show you in this video, I did have a couple of other tweaked resumes that were mostly for product design roles and UX UI design roles, which are a bit different than a straightforward graphic design role, but they're all really similar and using a lot of very similar skills and software. Some of the language and goals for those roles and descriptions overall were a bit different, so sometimes I tweaked them, but I was primarily using this resume to apply for all my roles. I know that's controversial in terms of opinion. Some people say you should be making kind of a tweaked resume every time you're sending it out, but a lot of designer and brand design roles are very, very similar. Sometimes I think they literally copy and paste each other. Basically, since it was all the same job, I didn't make a ton of resumes for a bunch of different types of roles. Having said that, I would still say my resume was overall pretty successful with getting my foot in the door, considering I had 2 job offers by the end of it, and I had interviewed with dozens of companies for a bunch of different roles, made it pretty far in the processes, and even interviewed for my dream role. So this is my resume, and at a glance you can already see I'm accomplishing one of the most important things when it comes to any resume, which is a clean layout. Statistically speaking, recruiters only spend about 6 seconds glancing over your resume, so it better be easy and worth their glance. Without even going into the content itself, we can simply see by looking that there are specific sections for different topics, it's organized, and it's overall easy to read and look at and understand. It's well designed and it's professional. If your resume is hard to read, hard to look at, overly contrasted, or just makes people go when they look at it because it's so overwhelming, that's not good because they're probably not even going to bother to look into the content itself, and you want them to look at it. One thing I do want to note about my resume, and actually note something it's missing, is a bunch of color. The reason behind that is your resume is a professional document, and although you're in the creative field using this as a creative document, not everyone that's going to be looking at your resume is necessarily going to be in a creative field. Lots of times there's going to be HR managers or recruiters who are looking at your resume who have nothing to do with the creative field and are just going to look at this and say, why does it have all this color and graphics? This is too much information. On top of that, if you're going to be in an on-site role at all, a lot of times people will print out your resume, and if you have a lot of color on there, there's a chance that none of that's actually going to print, and they might just print it in black and white, so it might not look as you intended it. The next thing I think I'm doing right with my resume is setting clear expectations. At the top of my resume, you see my name, my logo, my profession, and a brief about myself and kind of a professional statement. All of this content kind of gives a gist as to what I'm about and what I'm trying to do. It really sets the tone for your resume and helps you differentiate yourself. People might remember you based on your logo, being like, that's the one with the cool cat logo, or reading the description saying that person was value-based, or saying like, hey, they talk about doing retro funky designs all the time, and we want that. If you have more experience, you might choose to use this space differently, and this is optional, but I would definitely recommend including your name, your logo, and your profession so people know what they're getting into as soon as they look at it. If you are going to include a description about yourself, make sure to keep it as short as a tweet. You don't want it to be any longer than 250 characters, or else it's getting way too long. If they want to learn more about you, they're going to actually look at your website or set up an interview with you. Keep in mind, another thing that's not here at the top section of my resume is a photo of myself. In the US, unless you're a model or a real estate agent, don't include a picture of yourself on your resume. Like, ever. It can be seen as novice and unprofessional to have your photo there, and it can also open yourself up to a lot of unconscious and unintentional bias. It sucks, but it's true. From there, the most important stuff takes up the most space, and the most important thing on your resume is going to be your relevant experience. The key word in that sentence is relevant. Now, like we already talked about in the beginning of this video, you might not have a lot of experience or you're just starting out, so you might not have a ton to draw from that you think is really relevant or applies. I'm going to tell you that that's okay. The two most important things about this experience section is one, how you frame it, and two, that you actually have done something at all. The fact that you have done anything is a thumbs up. Everyone's experience is going to range vastly, so I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of what I wrote, but as you can see from what I've written, that I'm basically pulling out my strengths, highlighting my impact, saying what I did mattered, any accomplishments and achievements from there, and overall just framing myself as strong, capable, and a leader who gets stuff done. It's also all been done in like 3 to 4 bullet points in a clear, concise manner. I really wouldn't recommend going above 3 or 4 bullet points because anything that's really relevant can be summed up in about 3 or 4 bullet points. Even with my office assistant role, where I just worked with my university's housing office, I still highlight the key points that are relevant to any employer, which is someone who has had a job before, can do the duties, and is going to be easy and friendly to work with. Always make sure to state the name of your role, how long you were in that role, where you were located if you can, and the literal company you worked for to give them some context. Moving on to the sidebar, I give them all the ways that they can contact me. Always have a contact section, and if you can, make it clickable. Having a clickable website, email, or phone number just makes it that much easier for them to reach out to you and set up an interview. It also gives them a very clear point of reference as to how they can contact you. Have it somewhere they're going to see and cannot miss. Don't put it in really tiny letters at the bottom that they're going to not see. Make it a clear section and always give them options and ways they can contact you. I personally don't list my address because I was primarily applying to remote work, so I didn't really see how it mattered. And my professors also told me while I was at university not to list your address because in case you are looking to apply somewhere that's like farther away, you don't want to give them the chance to discriminate against you, that you won't actually move there even though you are willing to. So do with that information as you will. I personally don't list my address on my resume simply because I don't find it relevant, especially since I was primarily applying for remote work. Moving on from there, I have my education section. If you have a degree, even if it's unrelated, list it. Having a degree shows that you're credible, committed, and a lot of places just like to see that you have one nowadays. Make sure to list your degree, your minor if you want, where you got it, and potentially when. I personally list that I graduated magna cum laude simply because it gives me brownie points, but if you didn't graduate with honors or you didn't have a high GPA, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Simply don't list it. If you don't list it, no one's even going to bother to ask about it. The fact that you have a college degree or are currently working towards one is already a thumbs up. I mentioned some of my college affiliations at the moment simply because a lot of people told me I should because they could find me more relatable that way, and I have had some people comment about it. But if you didn't have a lot of affiliations or you don't really want to mention them, then you don't have to either. Last but certainly not least, I list out my skills. These skills sections might very well be the most important part of my entire resume, simply because how PDF scanning works nowadays and how many employers are looking to check off a wish list of all the skills and softwares they want new employees to have. Employers want people who can do it all nowadays, and if they have a checklist of literally everything that you can do, they can easily reference their own wish list and mark off everything. I've literally been in interviews before before where I've been talking to the recruiter or the person and they have my resume in hand and they're asking me about software or skills and they're checking it off as we go. By having all these soft skills and software skills listed, it gives the kind of algorithms that are scanning PDFs and resumes nowadays all the keywords they're looking for to essentially put your resume at the top or closer to the top of that digital pile of resumes. This is where I also mentioned that definitely submit your resume in a PDF format where you can actually like highlight the text. Never ever send your resume as like a JPEG. Those systems cannot read it. If you can get these kind of softwares and algorithms also working in tandem with your resume, that's fantastic and is only going to help give you a boost, because if you two are working together, then it's going to work out better for you. And with that, that's my resume, and that's the resume that got me hired as a designer. Overall, this is what I did and what I found to work for me. I had a lot of people more experienced than I was helping me go over my resume, read it, look over it, optimize it, refine it, which I would highly recommend you do if you are able. Check for those misspellings, man. They'll help you out. Obviously, my resume isn't perfect and is going to continuously evolve as my career changes, and this is simply what worked for me in getting my first role. If you are more experienced within the creative and design field and you have some tips to share, I would love it if you drop those tips and information out down in the comment section below. Let's help each other out. I hope going over what I did and some of the tips I shared helps you move forward, help you learn something, and help you in wherever you are in your career journey. If you enjoyed or learned something from this video, don't forget to like the video down below, as it really helps me out a lot. And if you would, I would love if you considered subscribing. And like I said at the beginning of this video, your resume isn't the most important thing. Your portfolio is. If you're interested in the portfolio that got me hired as a designer, you can go ahead and click here. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have an amazing, safe day.